residents urged to take extra care amid increasing COVID-19 cases. Four brothers, workshop manager plead not guilty to polluting Sungai Gong. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me, Muhammad Amin Carlos. Well, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin tonight reminds all Malaysians to play their part in breaking the chain of COVID-19 transmissions. Well, he said that the last 2 weeks, we saw an increase in the number of cases in the country, causing 3 districts to be declared red zones, namely Kota Star in Kedah, as well as Lahad Datu and Tawau in Sabah. The Premier also reminded the rakyat that the Movement Control Order MCO may need to be reimposed if there is a sharp increase in COVID-19 cases in the country.
Saudara dan saudari mesti terus berdisiplin dan patuh kepada peraturan. Ini penting supaya kita dapat mengawal penularan wabak COVID-19 ini. Kerajaan tidak teragak-agak untuk melaksanakan perintah kawalan pergerakan diperketatkan atau PKPD di kawasan-kawasan yang mencatatkan kes-kes baru COVID-19 yang tinggi.
The special address was broadcasted over several television stations and social media platforms. The Premier explained that imposing the MCO will have a negative impact on the livelihoods of the rakyat and the economy of the country. Well, the government has not yet proposed any implementation of Administrative Enforced Movement Control Order, EMCO, in Lahad Datu and Tawau, claiming that the situation is still under control. Now, Senior Minister for Security, Dato Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the matter involved over 511,000 residents in Tawau and 226,000 in Lahad Datu. He also explained that the Ministry of Health, the MOH, will be conducting targeted screenings on 25,000 people in Tawau and 13,000 in Lahad Datu. MOH has also identified potential quarantine centres in the 2 districts.
Jadi kita telah pun mengenal pasti kawasannya, iaitu di Tawau, 1 blok di dalam penjara Tawau itu digunakan untuk kuarantin tersebut. Manakala 1 Dewan Masyarakat di Lahad Datu juga telah dikenal pasti akan digunakan sebagai pusat kuarantin yang dianggap mereka yang PUS ataupun person under surveillance yang berisiko rendah ini.
Yesterday, MOH had screened 3,981 individuals in Tawau and 1,421 in Lahad Datu, of which 331 and 89 cases were recorded in those areas respectively. 7 locations in the Sri Tanjung district, 1 location in the Wallace Bay district, and 6 locations in the Merotai district were identified to be linked with the Benting, Lahad Datu, and Laut cluster. Meanwhile, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri once again stressed that there is no need to impose quarantine on those who return from Sabah. He said it will only be done if the state is declared as a red zone.
Yang ada kes adalah di Tawau, di Lahad Datu, itu pun yang melibatkan penjara. Penjara maknanya mereka telah pun berada di dalam kurungan. Maknanya kalau kejadian itu berlaku positif jangkitan hanya di dalam penjara tersebut.
However, he said the Health Ministry will conduct a study from time to time according to the number of cases. The senior minister also pointed out that every raid conducted by the Royal Malaysia Police, PDRM, is to be participated by local authorities, PBT. Dato Sri Ismail Sabri explained that this is to enable local authorities to revoke the licenses of business premises violating regulations.
Kerana pihak PDRM hanya boleh mengenakan kompaun dan menahan mereka, sedangkan PBT boleh membatalkan lesen perniagaan mereka. Jadi kita dah minta supaya PBT turut serta untuk mengambil tindakan membatalkan lesen bagi premis-premis perniagaan yang melanggar arahan daripada kerajaan ini.
Speaking at the RMCO media conference in Putrajaya, he also informed that PDRM arrested 132 individuals yesterday for flouting RMCO protocol, including several of them who had organized private parties. 14 of them were remanded, while 118 of them were issued compounds. Meanwhile, in Benteng, 46 illegal immigrants were arrested and authorities seized 1 boat and 3 land vehicles. Well, 23 new COVID-19 cases were recorded today, bringing the cumulative positive cases in Malaysia to 9,969. Now, meanwhile, the Ministry of Health, the MOH, has identified a new cluster dubbed the Pulau Cluster in Sabah earlier today. And according to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, 9 cases were recorded under the said cluster.
Kes indeks kluster iaitu kes ke-9,940 adalah seorang wanita warga negara Malaysia yang berusia 68 tahun. Beliau ditemui tidak sedarkan diri di rumah dan dibawa ke Hospital Puna dan kemudian dia dirujuk ke Hospital Tawau bagi perawatan serangan jantung, strok dan penyakit hati, di mana saringan COVID-19 didapati positif pada 13 September 2020. Beliau kini dirawat di unit rawatan rapi dan memerlukan bantuan pernafasan.
Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said close contact screenings and active case detection found that 8 of them are family members of the first case. 128 individuals were screened, involving 109 Malaysians and 19 foreigners, of which 18 of them tested negative, while the remaining 101 are still awaiting results. The health DG said disinfection and sanitation processes have been conducted in the affected areas and the cause of infection is still being investigated. 6 recoveries were also recorded today, raising the cumulative number of recoveries to 9,209 cases. 14 cases are currently being treated in the intensive care units, with 4 of them requiring respiratory aid. The death toll remains at 128, with no new deaths reported today. Well, 12,885 residents of Kota Star have been screened for COVID-19 since the implementation of the Administrative Enforcement Control Order on 11 September. And according to a statement by Kedah Health Director Dr. Muhammad Fikri Ujang, now those screened were close contacts of the positive cases and carry a high risk of transmission. Well, meanwhile, Dr. Muhammad Fikri said symptomatic patients were screened as a precautionary measure to detect any positive cases early and making it easier to stop the spread of the virus. Well, he said the screening results are expected to return within 3 days. Positive individuals will be contacted by the Kota Star District Health Office, PKD operations room, and will be taken to the Sultanah Bahia Hospital for further treatment. Well, those not contacted 72 hours after the screening tests are to continue practicing the new normal as recommended by the Health Ministry and the government. It is estimated that between 15,000 and 20,000 residents in this district will be screened during the EMCO period, and screening will continue if there are new positive cases. Dr. Muhammad Fikri urged those instructed to undergo home quarantine to continue staying at home, as JKN will continue to monitor the development of COVID-19 infection cases in the state and will ensure implementation of appropriate prevention and control measures. Well, echoing the same sentiment, Kota Star District Police Chief ACP Nur Azman Muhammad Nur also advised residents of Kota Star to remain at home and follow the SOPs of the Administrative Enforced Movement Control Order, the RMCO. Now, this includes not conducting any social activities in neighborhoods to prevent infections in the local community. ACP Nur Azman said this is due to a large number of neighborhood community clusters in Tawau recording COVID-19 cases.
Walaupun masyarakat berada di rumah bersama keluarga, larangan ini juga adalah termaktub kepada pergaulan sosial di antara jiran-jiran yang berdekatan. Kita risau bahawa jangkitan ini akan terus berleluasa sekiranya kita berada dalam satu kumpulan.
He also advised residents to obtain entry and exit permission letters from the nearest police stations or Kota Star District Police Headquarters if they have an important reason to leave. Failure to do so will result in punishment by law. In a related development, the Kedah State Government has allocated 1 million ringgit as funds to channel food aid to residents currently undergoing EMCO in the Kota Star district. The Kedah Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Madnor in a statement said supply deliveries will be only managed by conducted by the Social Welfare Department, JKM, Malaysian Civil Defence Force, APM, and the People's Volunteer Corps, that's RELA. Well, he further explained that any non-governmental organisation or NGO, association or individual wishing to contribute could contact the Disaster Operations Control Centre or PKOB Kota Star District Office at 0470278080. Muhammad Sanusi also said food banks under the Kedah Zakat Board can be found in all mosques throughout the state, including the EMCO area, and residents can contact the Zakat Collector Assistant or Mosque Committee to receive supplies. 366,787 residents were placed under administrative EMCO from 11 September to 25 September, following the rise of infections originating from the Telaga cluster and Sungai cluster in Kedah. Well, 4 members of the Board of Directors and a workshop manager of the Yip Chi Seng and Sons Sendirian Berhad workshop were charged in the Selayang Sessions Court today in connection with the pollution in Sungai Gong, which resulted in water supply disruption to more than 1.2 million people recently. Now, the 4 board members, who are also brothers, Yip Kok Wai, Yip Kok Mun, Yip Kok Quin, and Yip Kok Wing, as well as the manager, Ho Vun Leong, all pleaded not guilty to charges made against them before Judge Shafira Muhammad Said. Now, on the first count, they were all charged under Section 430 of the Penal Code with committing mischief by allowing dangerous substances from the workshop to be disposed into water channels that lead to Sungai Gong, fully aware that it will disrupt water supply for human consumption. Well, the offence was allegedly committed at the premise located at Jalan Batu Arang, Kampung Sungai Dua, between 2nd and 3rd September. Now, if found guilty, they face an imprisonment for up to 30 years or a fine, or both. Now, the suspects were also jointly charged with releasing waste products containing dangerous substances without a license into water channels leading to Sungai Gong at the same place and time. The offence carries a maximum sentence of a 100,000 ringgit fine or 5 years jail time, or both upon conviction. After hearing from both sides, Judge Shafira set 27th October for rehearing of the case and offered no bail. Well, the Malaysia Quarantine and Inspection Services, or MAKIS, in Johor sees various agricultural products weighing around 315 kilograms at Complex Sultan Abu Bakar, Johor Bahru yesterday. Now, the products worth 2,000 ringgit were to be brought out of the country without a valid export permit. Now, MAKIS State Director Nur Afifah A. Rahman said most contrabands confiscated by MAKIS were hidden among legal trade products to hide them from authorities. And according to Nur Afifah, this is an offence under Section 11, Subsection 2 of the Malaysian Quarantine and Inspection Services Act 2011, Act 728, which can also be punished according to Section 11, Subsection 3 of the same Act. It carries a sentence of a fine not more than 100,000 ringgit or 6 years imprisonment, or both upon conviction. Well, a man and a woman reported missing after going out fishing in the waters of Teluk Yu in Langkawi last Saturday were found safe at Pantai Pasir Panjang, Thailand. Now, the victims, Bon Heng Sang, age 32, and Nur Aisha Musa, age 31, were found safe by Thai fishermen in Pulau Khoi. Well, according to Langkawi Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Iqbal Ibrahim, on Sunday at 9:30 p.m, his party received a call reporting that the victims were found in a neighboring country's waters. That boat was reported to have run out of fuel. In addition to the engine, had already sustained some damage. Superintendent Muhammad Iqbal said Langkawi Region 1 Marine Police were dispatched to retrieve the victims from Pulau Khoi authorities in Thailand at about 11 a.m. yesterday. The two victims were reported missing after losing contact with their families right after Nur Aisha called them to ask for fuel to be delivered near Pulau Andaman. Coming up, NCER's economy to grow by 300 billion ringgit. Well, the Northern Corridor Implementation Authority, NCIA, expects the Northern Corridor Economic Regions, or NCER, economy to grow by 300 billion ringgit through initiatives outlined in the newly launched Strategic Development Plan 2021-2025, also known as SDP. Now, through the SDP, the Northern region is projected to create more than 160,000 new jobs and over 42,000 entrepreneurs, while the cumulative investment is forecast to grow to 146.5 billion ringgit. However, the target is expected to be delayed by 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, up to July this year, the NCIA has achieved 115.9 billion ringgit in cumulative realized investments and created over 140,000 jobs in the NCER. Now, the SDP covers all 4 states in the northern region and comprises programs to create new jobs through private investments and infrastructure projects by the government. The SDP was presented to Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who chaired the 23rd NCIA meeting in Pulau Pangkor, Perak. To mitigate the impact of the ongoing pandemic in the region, the NCIA has also mobilized its post-COVID-19 plan in the SDP, with efforts already underway to create jobs and boost economic activities in the NCER. Well, the Perak State government has requested an allocation of 300,000 ringgit from the federal government for the purpose of renovation and expansion of the Pulau Pangkor passenger and cargo jetty. Its Menteri Besar, Dato' Sri Ahmad Faisal Azumu, said the aid is needed to support the increasing number of tourists at the island.
Banyak masalah di kalangan penduduk tempatan untuk keluar masuk daripada Pulau Pangkor, maka kita telah mengusulkan juga agar kerajaan persekutuan dapat menimbangkan membuka lebih banyak landing zone bagi utamanya bagi kargo, bagi para pekerja yang keluar masuk daripada Pulau Pangkor ini, para traders yang membawa masuk barangan dan sebagainya, perlu ada tempat-tempat yang lebih sesuaian.
He said this after the Northern Corridor Implementation Authority NCIA meeting chaired by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin in Pulau Pangkor. At the same time, Dato' Sri Faisal also proposed to the Ministry of Finance to reduce the 48-hour stay requirement before tourists can enjoy duty-free shopping on Pangkor Island to 24 hours. Previously, Pulau Pangkor was declared a duty-free island PBC in January. Since the announcement, the island received over 500,000 visitors. In our top story, Malaysians urged to remain vigilant to avoid another MCO. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.